publishing GIS data today in the webinar using GeoSync GO AM tools. So if you haven't seen any of the other webinars regarding the AM tools, just a quick background on what all it can do. So again, this is called the Asset Management tool, and this is a desktop toolbox. It runs on Windows 7 or later. It's a replacement for Desktop Manager, but if you're currently using Manager and everything's working fine, we're going to keep supporting that. There's no need to change that over, but going forward, we'll be moving ahead with Go AM tools in place of Manager. There are targeted tools and procedures, and this software is optimized for use with GeoSync Go Plus. There are streamlined processes that include publishing GIS layers, and that's what we'll talk about today. Getting field reports back to your GIS. Managing GeoSync Go Plus workflows, such as your hydrant flushing, inspections, any of your workflows in the field. Integration with different GIS software, such as Quantum GIS, ArcGIS, and AutoCAD Maps. And you can analyze, report, and visualize spatial data and manage your assets. But if we move ahead with our discussion today on publishing GIS data, when we talk about publishing data, we mean to move data from the GIS to the cloud for consumption on mobile devices in the field. And we have the diagram. You can see the different GIS software on the left. And that data flows into AM tools, which flows into the cloud in GeoSync Go Plus. This is another diagram basically showing the same idea, but how the data flows within that. In the orange, you have your different GIS software again that flows into GeoSync Go AM tools, which uses a local SQL database to store that data. That again then gets pushed out into the cloud, where it uses the workflow database that's stored in the cloud. And that data is used within GeoSync Go Plus. Keeping in mind that configuring the SQL database connection and layers is necessary in the GIS software. So if we look at the steps in the workflow of publishing GIS data, we'll talk first about using Artmask. We have a MapSync publish toolbar that sits inside of ArcGIS. And if you use the export tool that's highlighted in red, that will open the GeoSync Go Layers tool dialog. At that time, you check the layers that you want to publish to the cloud. And then you also have other options over on the right. There's an auto create MUIDG, polygons as points, polylines as points, and then you can use a selection when available. So those are options, and then you can use the alias name as the field name also. But those are options that you have in configuring the export data. So once you select your layers that you want to export, then you go ahead and press export, and that data will flow over into GeoSync Go AM tools. And if you select the Data Sources tab, and then select ArcGIS XML Export, then you can check the layers, highlight and check the layers that you want to publish. And then you have two options for publishing that data. You can either publish or sync. Now, when you publish the XML data that you've pulled from Arc, you're going to publish the whole layer. The sync option allows you to just update layers. So if you've already published, let's say, for instance, lift station, and you've gone back in and made some edits to that feature in the GIS, in ArcGIS, and then you want to simply update that feature, then you would sync. However, if you're going to publish, use the publish option, it replaces the whole list station layer. So let's say that you have 10,000 manholes and you've only updated 4 or 5 of those, but you've already published. In that case, you may just want to use the sync option to cut down on time, because you don't need to replace the whole layer. So once you've published or either synced the data, that's now available in the cloud, and you get the message that the publish is complete. Likewise, for the same workflow of publishing GIS data, but in this case we're using Quantum GIS or AutoCAD Map. You already have your SQL database configured and connected, and the layers are in your project. Then if you've made edits to those layers within Quantum GIS or AutoCAD Map, then you're ready to open AM Tools, and you can select Data Sources and the local database, and then select the database from the drop-down. Select and highlight the layers that you want to publish, and again, either publish the layer or sync the layer, depending on if you want to replace the whole layer or just publish updated features. So once you've gotten the message that the publish is complete, in AM Tools you can select the Published Layers tab, and if there's nothing shown, then press the refresh button and you'll be able to see the layers that have been published. So you can verify that that publish was complete. Now, after you've published, that data is ready for use in GeoSync GO+. You can view and capture data in the field. You can use GPS tools for navigation and location. You can perform inspections and track status of recurring tasks, create new features, fill out and save reports, and link media with this data in GeoSync GO+ after you've published it. So after you've published, we've been talking about using this data in GeoSync GO+, but I also want to mention that that data is available in GeoSync Go Mobile as well as our desktop manager. So at this time, if we look at an example of this process, so if we're going to look at the first workflow using ArcGIS, we've got our MapSync Publish toolbar, and we're going to select the Export to GeoSync Go. Then we're going to select the layers that we've edited, because now we're ready to push those out for use in the cloud on our mobile device. So we can take this data out in the field. Now that export is already complete. And now if we go over to AM Tools, and we're under the ArcGIS XML export, we can select the layers that we want to publish and publish XML. I'm going to run that and hope that during a webinar that won't take very long. But actually, let's go back over the publish and the sync. So at this point, I'm publishing and replacing the whole layer in the cloud because I chose the publish XML. If I had chosen the sync XML and I had already published the layer, then the sync will simply update any features that have been updated since the last publish. So that publish is complete. I can now select Publish Layers and refresh. And now you can see the layers that I have published, that I just published in. Also, if you're using Quantum GIS and you already have your layers and your SQL database configured, and you've made edits here in this software. Now you're ready to, again, push that data back out into the cloud for use in GeoSync GO Plus. And again, you can simply select the layers that you want to publish. And I've already published, so at this point I'm going to select Sync Layers. And now that publish is complete. Now we're ready to check this information within GeoSync GO Plus because we're ready to go out to the field. And we're going to give it a second because that publish has just occurred. And now you can see that information is showing up after our publish. It's now out for use in GeoSync GO Plus so that we can take it out in the field and do our field inspections and reports. And that's all for the presentation today in the webinar of publishing GIS data. As you can see, that's an extremely easy process. You simply export it, go within AM Tools, and publish. And then it's ready for use in GeoSync GO Plus.